loaded up the car. I loaded the car last night after the pickers left, and they took the last of the bins off. And so everything was clear and nice, and it's kind of rainy today. So I thought, well, while it's still sunshiny, I'll quickly pull the car up to the front door and load everything. So I loaded everything, and it's all sitting there waiting. And this morning, there's no water. So I thought, while we're trying to sort out all the water issues, they're trying to sort out all the water issues back there, I will just get on and do this thing that I guess I just didn't want to do it. And I read this really good post this morning on Minds from freedom fighter Victor, I think it was, who I've followed for years there on Minds, and really enjoy the posts. This was kind of different from what he usually posts. He usually talks about political stuff, but this was much more personal, and he was talking about self-sabotaging behavior and how you don't get on in life unless you can back yourself, basically. And a person who self-sabotages, well, what can you do? There's no helping. And it's so interesting because it's the thing that I've been noticing. Oh wow, talking about noticing, I'm driving without my glasses. Actually my eyes have changed so much that really my glasses have changed. I need to go and probably change my license and get the reflection that anyway, okay. Side waffle. So self-destructive behavior, and I think that it's really interesting because I have known for a little while that I'm the one that thwarts myself. I'm realizing more and more, though, that just knowing things is not enough. I've known things about myself, and there's an amount of stuff to know about yourself. There's an amount of negative content about yourself that everybody has negative content about themselves, right? Well, I guess not everybody. The sociopaths and the psychopaths probably don't, and the narcissists. However, it's sort of in the broad group of just normally functioning people. Yeah. All of us are aware that we have faults and weaknesses and flaws. The thing is that keeping on looking at them and keeping on uncovering your issues becomes a sort of a masochism unless you learn to balance it with an amount of forward-thinking, directed behaviors and intentions, I believe. One of my big criticisms of the New Zealand Mental Health Department was that they were so loving and kind and understanding. And when I went to them and said, I'm not getting ahead with things, and they were, well, what can you expect? It's a really hard situation. And that was sympathy. And maybe the error was in me. People have said that, is that you took that as permission to just sit back and do nothing. And in fact, what they were saying was just go easy on yourself. And I took that as, well, don't do anything then. So, many a slip twixt cup and lip. But I think that my point is that it's not necessarily knowing, and it's not necessarily sympathy, and it's not necessarily understanding or insight. Sometimes you do need need the hardness. You do need to pull yourself together and suck it up and get on with things. I remember asking somebody, that was the first time that I was ever told to suck it up. I was at this little counseling course with my son, my youngest son, and we were talking about grief. It was a group of mothers mothers with children who were grieving the absence of the dad for reasons. And the focus of the group was really on the children and helping the children, giving the children different skills to deal with this situation that their parents obviously had not dealt with, because there was now a breakup. And then us mums were sort of given the course in the background. And you know what it's like. Go around the room and write on a piece of paper your meanings for this and that, and then we all say them, and then we compile this talk therapy, I guess. Group talk therapy is what I'm trying to explain. And I said to her, all right, so now we know this, and you say do this and this, but like it's not working, so what do we do? And she just looked at me. I don't know if she'd ever been asked, what do we do? And she said, you just got to suck it up and deal with things. That was interesting. There's no formula for what you have to do apart from suck it up. Once you've sucked it up. And so I started talking to people about sucking it up, and I found that among beneficiaries there was a universal feeling, anger, frustration, irritation, I don't know, feeling of being let down, thank you. And it was expressed in many ways, but like, how do they expect us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps? And how do we pull ourselves together? And so obviously there was more than one of us that had been told that it was up to us to do it, and somehow we weren't doing it. And of course, if you speak to normal people out in the world who are doing it, they get very frustrated and angry, because like, we're doing it, we're going out to work every day, we're supporting our families. Why do you think that you can lie around and have bubble baths and drink tea and say that's you're coping with things? And so there's this, what is it, this group of people who aren't coping and who are frustrated by not coping. And many of them self-medicate. I mean, there were a few that I met that did not. I can't think of any who had never self-medicated, but there were a few that I knew that weren't currently self-medicating when I knew them. Sometimes the people who were using substances were actually doing better than the people who weren't. However, another side waffle. Alright, so focusing. Self-destructive behavior. The doing the right thing. Don't suck it up and do the wrong thing. Suck it up and do the right thing. It was so lovely getting your message this morning, Mayflower, with your description of how you've got your compost and everything in this system. I'm sorry, I can't quite remember what you said, but it just made me smile and happy that I knew somebody who was gardening and dealing with their scraps and composting, and just, you know, everything that in my heart is what the revolution is about. You know, the social awakening, this understanding that we are responsible for ourselves and our planet and our behavior, and whether there are things like climate change or corruption or wars in foreign countries. What we do matters to us and to our community, to who we are. You know, me. And of course, if you change yourself, you often change the people around you. So, taking personal responsibility and being who you are, being the best of who you can be, is really what revolution is about. Going out with guns and pitchforks and torches and you know, it's good for stories of 100 years ago. It's not so good for today. Particularly since we are now at the level of our civilization where we don't need guns and pitchforks and torches. We have the education, we have the understanding, we have the huge global context in which we can test political systems and socio-economic systems, and we live in a different place, in a whole different milieu. We just cannot compare ourselves to people who used to have revolutions because they were desperate. And so now we are able to have this bloodless revolution, this revolution of the Great Awakening, understanding our own duty and obligation to us as the society at large and our small communities and our friendships. You know, it makes a difference if you compost your scraps, if you recycle your glass, if you put in the effort to take your plastics down to the plastic station. Oh, I'm trying to tell myself this because I'm really battling. But I'm pleased that I'm letting this stuff go. And I'm pleased that it's no longer going to be just hanging over my head. And beyond that, the bigger thing is that I'm pleased that I'm not allowing my self-destructive behavior to stop me from doing this. Because I want to. I have a long list of reasons why I don't want to do it today. I mean, it's raining, and so, I better not take the boxes out in the rain. They might get wet, like for the 30 seconds that it's going to take from the car to the shop. No, they're not going to get wet. Let me do the job. I woke up this morning with quite a bad pain in my lower right side, and I've been thinking all morning, it's definitely cancer. It's like I know I've had these twinges all my life, and they must have been cancer starting, and now is the day. And so I sat and I waited all morning until I could phone the doctor, so I could rush into the doctor and I could go in and I could see if I had cancer. And of course there wasn't an appointment in 10 minutes time. I remember with Callum when he went to the doctor, I mean, he waited 3 weeks, I think, before he got his first scan. So I've got an appointment tomorrow, and she said, if it feels better by tomorrow morning, you could just phone up and cancel. So I thought, yes I can. get into any list for treatment. And then, having realized that the sky isn't falling and I can't get an immediate panicky doctor's appointment, just calm down and listen to it and realize that it could be something else. It could be that I've tweaked a muscle in my back and I'm getting referred pain, you know? Instead of having cancer in my front and feeling a pain in my back, maybe I've got a little bit of a caught nerve or something. Yeah. So, reframing, knowing that it's bigger, and being aware that my pattern of self-destruction is to not do things, not going to meditate. I might have cancer. Why should I meditate? I could be dead. You know? Really self-destructive and warped types of thinking. Really warped types of thinking that, yeah, just don't help. Just don't help. Anyway, I'm trying to work through it. And I'm trying to understand what needs to be said, what doesn't need to be said, what needs to be acted upon, what behaviors need to be changed. And I think yesterday when I was so happy to get the bee video off. I couldn't get it off the camera at first, and it's not that I couldn't get it off. I did get it off, but the thing is that it's the fancy 3D camera that Callum has bought for his project of doing the drone mapping. And so what he wants me to do, what I had started doing, was going under the orchard, under the vines, and taking a photo in every single bay. So we can stitch it together and we can make a virtual walkthrough of the orchard. The problem we had is that there's a sort of a blue aura around the leaves and light beams coming through, which I don't care about because, you know, I don't do photography for it to be realistic. I deliberately attempt to distort my photographs, and when I do AI, when I generate AI images, I deliberately try to give the AI ambiguous commands because I don't want the exact reality. I've got exact reality out there in books, encyclopedias, dictionaries, whatever. There really is an exact reality if I want to go and look at it. So I'm far more interested in Dada and surrealism and the happy accident, you know, found art, Duchamp and Cubism. Yeah. Waffle. Yeah, I really need to talk, don't I? It's good. I'm happy to be able to talk without having anybody listening to me. To know that the listening part of it is the optional extra, not the ingredient not the missing ingredient. Yeah? Because there is no missing ingredient. You are the secret ingredient. Yes. Yep. Right, so here I am talking, dealing with these things, these issues, and this fear and this reluctance to do the right thing. And I'm driving more and more into the rain, and I'm more and more thinking that I'm going to be in trouble with the people for bringing boxes in the rain. See, self-sabotage, waiting for things to go wrong. Okay, so I was telling you about my bee adventures because I'm trying to to learn to use the camera and learn to use the style of getting the orchard photos to look like real life. I have to worry about things like exposure and everything, and it's very difficult because under the vines is dark, obviously, and very bright above. So the camera adjusts for its conditions, but then you get these hectic light leaks. So I haven't decided what to do about that yet. I've tried doing it, taking photos at dusk. Doesn't work. Tried taking them in full sunlight. That seemed, I don't know, marginally better in some places, worse in others. Maybe an overcast day like this would be better. Anyway, part of the experimenting while Callum tries to get the code. He's got a huge, big issue. I think that he has to get the app working for desktop and Android and iOS. And oh me oh my, well, first thing, the licenses, the prices of the licenses are beyond ridiculous. And second thing is that everything that has to be done is complex and specialized to that system. And how he's built his programs all his life has been to write the body of the app or the program as a very generic, general thing, that anything can come along and access this from any angle with any amount of specific data, instead of trying to make it relevant to the specific data, and then it's never relevant to anything else. If somebody comes along and wants, oh, what about this? What about that? Oh, sorry, we didn't build it into the architecture. Yeah. So. The rain is coming, more rainy. I've been practicing with the camera. And the way I've been practicing with the camera is doing bees. And then I've got lots of things from lots of different angles, and then I talk. So, because it's a 360-degree camera, once you get it onto your computer at home, you then choose the frame that you want. I put up a couple of 360s. One of them worked quite well. The first one I did work quite well. The second one I did, I messed up the resolution somehow, so it's really yucky. And then trying to get this lot off, I was trying to different techniques. So it's taken me 2 days, so I did it finally. So that's 10 minutes to tell you something that I could have said in a sentence. But it wouldn't have been as interesting because you wouldn't have this much backstory. Come on, admit it. You want the backstory. I want the backstory. And it's pouring with rain here in Catty. Okay, well, and so it is. That's just the way it goes. Alright, so. That's frustrating. I wonder what I do. Go and have a coffee and wait for it to let up a bit? Or will it get heavier? So, yesterday, when I took the video off from the bees, I finished it by saying the important thing is to not stop. Stop doing something, start doing it again. Re-roll it, change it, do something different, do it a different way, but don't give up. So here I am in the rain, not wanting to deliver boxes to the second-hand shop in the rain, but they'll sit in the car for 4 days, and then I'll sit in this state of in between, and I've got to go and do grocery shopping, and the car's filled up, and all the self-destructives. However, look at me sitting here talking to you instead of sitting on the sofa thinking, I bet you I have cancer. I bet you it's going to Oh my word, it's raining. We can't do anything. Look at me. I'm out in the rain, driving along, doing stuff. So I have some old food here that's sitting around. I'm going to take that to the community centre and just put it in the little cart where everybody leaves community food. Oops, hope that's not leaking. That's a bottle of some sort of cleaner, spick and span. And this is, what's this? Duck fresh discs for the toilet. And a little bit of something and some picture hooks. Let's put those there in the pouring rain. It's okay, it doesn't matter. It's just rain. Thank goodness our skins are waterproof. And then pop down to the op shop, try and get rid of these things, hoping that I'm not going to regret it. There's some beautiful things there. Beautiful things, beautiful things. There's two big, solid, huge chunks of Himalayan salt. And there's a solid kauri chopping board. And there's all these beautiful things. I don't want to let them go, but I have no need for them. I have no place in my home for them. And if at some stage in the future I want them, I can go in the shop and buy them. And these ones are full of memories. Full of memories. There's the community centre. And they do not, yes they do. They do. There's the little thing where you put food. So I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to quickly run there, put this food on there, and somebody else who needs it can come and take it. Alright, so there we go. That's what I'm doing. So I needed to tell you, I needed you to be here, and I needed you. Thanks. Have a good day. So I did it. I did it. And there was this nice man that he was dropping something off, and he came behind me and he said, "Let me take those." And he took them all out and he gave them, all of them. He just picked them all out and gave them to them, so I didn't need to get any more bumps and bruises. And then she said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "My daughter killed herself. Those are her things. So yeah, I am okay." And I just went and then I thought those were the words I wasn't meant to say again, right? And then I thought maybe I still want everybody to know, like a big banner. Like a big banner. Somebody told me once of this story of somebody in the church that committed suicide, and they all got round them to support them and stuff, and the daughter said, "We just want everybody to know, just tell everybody must know, you must know how wrong it is, everybody must understand." And I said, that was a few years ago, 2 years maybe ago, I said, no, I don't know what it is, this desperation to tell everybody. And I don't know that I think that it's a good thing to tell everybody. And yet I just can't resist it. I want everybody to know. I mean, a lot of other sad things have happened in my life, in other people's lives, and I haven't done this. Tell everybody! Anyway. Yeah. salt lamps with the food that I gave them, the poor people place, because in the op shops, the people who take the nice stuff are the volunteers. They go through everything and they skim off the top all the nice bits, and then the second nice bits go into the shop. And I just thought, yeah, I would rather a poor person had those Himalaya lamps. But of course, probably a rich person will drive past in their car and think, oh, school, I'll get one of those from the free place. Because, people who live by scrounging, don't they? Oh, me. Okay, so there's an opportunity for a poor old person who's never ever been able to have something nice to go there and get a little lava lamp. Not lava lamp, what am I saying? Himalayan salt lamp. Himalayan salt. I don't even think that they're lamps, although they do have Actually, I have no idea whether they are lamps or not, whether they are hollowed in the inside or whether they're solid chunks. I didn't look. They've got a little stand on them, and they've got little places where a wire could go through the stand, so they could be made into lamps, or they could just have stands. Okay. Wow. So I did that, and I'm happy, and I'm happy that somebody will get something. And of course the woman in the shop said, well, we'll take anything that's in good condition. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sensitive and vulnerable, and anything can hurt my feelings. But I did just sift through all the things to make sure that everything was in good condition. And I guess I'm not actually dressed in the dress of a person who's giving away things in good condition. I'm more dressed in the way of somebody getting rid of junk, I suppose. However, I did the thing. I went through the thing. I made sure that anything that wasn't in good condition was thrown out, and I packed everything again, and they've got everything that's in good condition. So I met their requirements, and it's done. And yeah, I just needed to say that it was done. And alright, so now it's rainy and cold, and of course it's not nearly as rainy here as it is there. Now I'm driving out of the rain again. However, it's done. And I have an awesome blog post at home to compile and to get through and to post with some fun little images. And then I can't remember what day it is. I think it's Thursday today. So I don't think that I've got much to do. Still working on those animations for the Ember series. Really not happy with what I've got. I've been using Sora, and what I wanted to do is to take my little cartoony figures and to animate the cartoons, but it's taking the cartoon and it's turning it into real people, a scenario with real people. Yeah, so maybe have to work harder on the prompts to tell it more what I want to do. So yeah, I'm going to go home. Hopefully by the time I get home, the water will be done and things will be organized there at home, and I will be able to shower and have a cup of coffee. Well, chai. I think that person's frustrated with how I'm driving. Oh well. They passed. It's all good. Okay.